from the Director of Trade, Mr. Cuthbert Knights.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. A pleasant good morning to everyone. Ms. Leslie Batchelor, Director General of the Institute of Exports out of the UK. Ms. Indira Sajawan, Executive Director, Caribbean Center for Competitiveness. And excuse my pronunciation of your name. Mr. Felix Lewis, Director of CED. Senior public servants who are present here. Owners, managers of SMEs, members of the media, and I do hope I have not missed anyone. Let me welcome you to this session, this workshop, which was focused on internationalization of SME marketing and e-business. I would like to begin by saying to you that the internationalization of SMEs, and we know that there are various other nomenclatures by which they are captured, is a reality of contemporary business. And the internationalization of SMEs also is not a new phenomenon. It's nothing new. But when we speak of the internationalization of SMEs, what are we really referring to? It's important that we have some understanding. It really speaks to the involvement or engagement of SMEs in international business. In other words, it looks at the opportunity or the ability of a firm to expand its geographic focus, or from its limited domestic geographic focus to one of foreign markets, and thereby increasing its participation in global markets or international market activities. Having said that, I think we will understand and appreciate that SMEs has to ensure that they so craft an internationalization development strategy to ensure, and such strategy must also be based on the available and immediate resources of that firm to ensure its successful operations as an SME on an international scale. But when we speak also of SMEs, I'm just trying to put things into contextual framework for you. What do we mean when we speak about SMEs? And I said there are different nomenclatures by which they can be so classified. There is really no single all-embracing definition. Different countries do define SMEs differently. And I would also like to say to you that the definition may vary based on the average enterprise size, and also it may have some bearing on the developmental levels of the particular country in which those SMEs are found. Also, SMEs are usually measured by the number of employees, the value of their sales or turnovers, their value added, and also the value of their assets. So there's a combination of these criteria or markers which can be used when one is trying to look at what an SME is. But one can also look at a Bolton Committee report of 1971, which would also lay out some characteristics of an SME. We may ask ourselves, why are we so focused on SMEs? What really is the importance? And I can assure you that SMEs are indeed of significant importance. If we are to look at the Caribbean setting, for example, we would realize that a very large portion of our businesses in the Caribbean really and truly comprises SMEs. Now, why are they so important? SMEs really contribute to a very large extent to the employment and growth worldwide, not just in St. Vincent and the Caribbean. In OECD's countries, and I'm looking here at a report which was done by Michael Hendrickson of the he's the Economic Affairs Officer from ECLAC, and he would have done some work on SMEs competitiveness in the Caribbean, the challenges and opportunities. And this was done in 2009. And he noted that in OECD countries, SMEs contributed to 55% of GDP and 65% of employment in high-income countries, and over 90% of employment and 70% of GDPs in middle-income countries, such as most of our Caribbean countries are now graduated to middle-income countries. SMEs are also important because they're a growing source of exports in countries such as St. Vincent, for example. In the Caribbean, Mr. Hendrickson estimates from his finding that micro and small enterprise account for more than 45% of jobs in the region. And if we are to add medium sizes to these, it could be argued that more than 70% of jobs are created by these sectors. And you look at this report and you can see the glowing importance of these types of firms to our economies. Now, having looked at SMEs and what they are and why they are so important, when we speak of e-business, and this would be the final conceptual framework, what are we really speaking about when we speak of e-business? E-business is simply the ability to use technology or technologies, in particular web technologies, to support your business processes. Business processes such as your human resource, your sales and marketing, your supplies of goods and services, financial and administrative systems, etc. So it's your ability to use largely web technologies to support those processes. And you can engage in, a business can engage in, for example, trading online, e-marketing, social media, e-banking, accounting, etc. Now, and for SMEs, e-business is very, very important. E-business is extremely critical. Now, you know that it is a very, very easy or relatively inexpensive way and a cost-free way of marketing those type of businesses activities. They're very small. They may not have the financial base. So the very old school way of marketing can prove to be financially troubling. So therefore, this is an easy way of marketing one business. It helps SMEs to also reach a wider market. I mean, you can imagine the use of the web, the potential there of marketing. You're reaching a wide cross-section of audience. And you're also offering marketing, or you're marketing your business across boundaries, geographical boundaries. Now, it is fast, it is efficient. Also, it helps to bring a closer collaboration between SMEs and their suppliers. Additionally, we can note that it helps to improve the production of your businesses. It helps in improving your internal communication structure and marketing, etc., through the use of the internet. And I can assure you that there are other advantages which are brought to bear up on SMEs because of their involvement in e-business or the use of e-business facilities. Now, we speak about the internationalization of SMEs. But before a firm can think of, or small businesses or SMEs can think of, actually broadening their scope, their geographical scope, to operate in international markets, what are some of the things that they would be required to do or to become aware of? Because largely they would be crossing a boundary where they're now trying to be more involved in international trading, whether they're offering a good or a service. It can be that they're exporting those goods and services or they're importing such. So, such businesses will have to ensure that they have done an internal assessment. Why an internal assessment? Because you must understand, is my business so structured to perform on the international sphere? So that is very important. You need to look at your product line, your goods and services that you're offering. Are they competitive on the domestic market, or are they internally competitive? If they are not, you will know that they cannot be competitive on the international sphere, on the world stage. Okay? You also need to examine the internal structure of your businesses as well, of your business as well. In terms of your relationship with your banks, your banking relationship, because you know international financing will play a very large part. Can your bank provide you the type of financing or the financial leverage that you need to do business internationally? Can they do that? You need to look at your human resource. Do you have the human resource capacity to take your business international? Do you have that? Do you have the right mix of human resource personnel? You must look at your management commitment. Is your CEO or you as the owner and manager of that business, are you committed to invest the time and the resources to actually take your business international? You must decide, am I simply going to be shopping around for markets, or am I going to have a marketing strategy by which I can operate and market my business? Now you need to know the legal framework, not only of the country in which you're operating, but you also need to know the legal framework of the countries from which your supplies are coming or from which your goods and services are going to. When we speak of the legal framework, what are we speaking about? You need to know what are the company laws which will govern the operation of your business. IP laws, what sort of protection is there for your business? Competition laws. You also need to understand banking employment regulations, import-export compliances. You need to understand phytosanitary measures, the technical barriers to trade, rules of origin, which can impact on your exports or your import. You need to understand transport logistics. How can you get your goods and services in and out by ocean or sea or air or road? You need to understand how to use international documentation and a wide array of other things that you must have a clear understanding of before you can think of actually getting or transforming or taking your business on an international sphere. But there are initial steps that you can take. You probably would be saying to yourself, but how do I make that leap of faith? There are little initial steps that you can do to prepare yourself. You may not necessarily be engaged in buying or selling, but there are steps you can take to prepare your business. For example, try to understand your business, what type of businesses it is. You can also look at how do I actually go about this exporting and importing. Try to understand these things. So you need to think about having in place marketing programs, marketing strategies. You may also need to ask yourself, who are going to be my distributors or my suppliers, etc. Identify those. Know what are the available resources where they are that can help you to do what you have to do. You may need to build sustainable network as well. These are very important. You may need to establish and maintain good marketing relationship with international courier services. You may need their guidance in terms of logistical options and also solutions, transportation solutions when you are in problem. Good banking relationship, you can begin to establish these. And you also will try your best to establish a good legal relationship as well, because you may need to have legal advice as well too. So these are steps that you can take to prepare your business to operate internationally. Now, if you are going international, of course there are going to be some challenges which will confront you. What are likely to be some of these challenges? There is always the fear of the unknown. What am I really getting into? Can I trust those other people, my suppliers, my distributors, whatever? Can they also trust me? Also, you may not know if the businesses, companies, business people that you're dealing with, if they're very reputable. You also may not have the available resources. You may have financial constraint. You may also have difficulty in actually obtaining that type of capital because of the smallness of your business or the small size of your business. You can also be constrained by the very small size of your business, certain cultural factors, etc. So these are some of the things that can really challenge you in your effort to move ahead. Okay? And before I conclude, I also want to let you know that very significantly, I would have touched on it briefly, that we are looking at eBusiness and marketing. If you cannot market your business, if you cannot market your SMEs, then it means that you're really going nowhere, because you have to be able to reach your potential market. So you have to think in terms of a marketing plan, marketing strategy, etc. Now, one of the very important strategy or method one can focus on as a small business who wish to be involved in e-business is social media marketing. Now, as I said a while ago, it is relatively cheap. One can think of the use of Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, etc., Facebook, etc. And these are cheap ways of trying to market your business, reaching your potential or prospective consumers. Now, I can say to you that marketing online is no longer an option where SMEs are concerned. It is indeed a requirement for SMEs. Marketing online, you may say, oh, but I have a website. It is just not that. Marketing online goes beyond just having a presence online. It goes beyond just having a website where people just simply come and see what you have there. So when it goes beyond that, what does it mean? It means that, or it is about you or your SME going anywhere online and setting up your websites or your contacts in those locations where people are. You have to take your business to the market or to the people. So social marketing is very example. I said to you before, it helps you to reach potential customers. It helps you to build deeper and better connections. It also is fast, it's more inexpensive way of building profitable relationship compared, as I said, to old school marketing. And you can attract new businesses, new customers by offering contests, sharing tips, news, or even using promotional items to attract persons. Now, I mentioned to you that it's very important that you think of having a marketing strategy. Now, there's a lot more that I can say, but I just want to conclude by saying to you that small and medium-sized businesses, however we wish to define it, these businesses perform a critical, vital, important role in any economy. And this is indeed the case in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The capacity, or St. Vincent's capacity, to build on the growth and innovative potential of SMEs could prove to be a groundbreaker or a decisive element for the future prosperity of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The internationalization of SMEs and those here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines should therefore be supported as a means of ensuring economic growth, job creation, and economic and social cohesion. I do hope that you'll have a very informative, productive workshop. I know that indeed it will be. You're in the hands of capable facilitators, and I know that they're going to bring to bear the vast array of knowledge to you. So may God bless you while you do journey on this 2 days of workshop. Thank you very much for listening to me.